So hey guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have my baby joining us, but I want to address a question that I get asked all the time, and that's pretty much where to get started with toddlers. How can I do it on a budget? What should I be teaching them? I feel like I'm not doing enough, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me some tips, some information and stuff like that. So in today's video, I'm just going to share a few things that I think you should teach your toddler based on my experience with my 5-year-old and 3-year-old. And I want to preface this by saying that all of our children are different. They have different timelines, so I don't expect any one child to master everything at the same time. Let's just be clear. I've had 2 totally different experiences with both of my girls. And so I know that, you know, sometimes, you know, our kids have different interests and stuff like that. And so these are just like the baseline. If you Google like what my 2-year-old should know or what my 3-year-old should know, these will be some of the things that will pop up. And so I do have a blog post that I'm working on to kind of put it in writing for you guys to refer back to if you don't want to do like a full video, but that's going to come later. But yeah, the first thing I would say to do with your toddler, even your babies, is to read to them. Like, reading is so very important, and I did a video on this about the favorite books that I use and stuff like that. Like, even before they're able to talk, you reading to them help them with developing language skills. They're hearing sounds, they're hearing words and things like that they'll pick up on once they get a little older. But reading to them is just so very important. It exposes them to a whole lot of things, different things that you wouldn't cover on your day-to-day. Especially like when it's stuff like animals in the water, or I don't know, it's like all type of books that I purchased for my kids that I would have never thought to teach them if I hadn't read the book. And so the books that you would like to gravitate towards for that are the touch and feel books, or any type of sensory books like Lift the Flap. You also want to do the simple rhyming books so your child is able to like memorize the story, repeat back the words that you're reading. Say, what story is it? It's this book that I got from Dollar Tree. It was called Bubbles Bubbles, and I memorized the whole book because it's so repetitive. And this is something I used to do with my daughter before she got in the bath. And so the book is like, yeah, bubbles bubbles on my nose, bubbles bubbles on my toes, bubbles bubbles in my hair, bubbles bubbles everywhere. And so books that are repetitive like that, the kid pick up on it, you know, really easily. And so even with him, since I remember the book, we don't have it anymore. I do it with him when he's able to take a bath, and so I just point to his body parts. You know, bubbles bubbles on my nose, bubbles bubbles on my toes. And so I do that with him, and you know, it's something that he'll remember because I've done it so much. And so my next point, and that is to teach them just new words, new vocabulary. So my focus from age 1 to 2, even before they were 1, was to build new vocabulary, was to introduce things around us, right? And so that means like narrating your day. What do you see around you? Go outside and you could be like, if you're focusing on colors, I see green, or I see grass, I see a car, I see a tree. When you're in your home, you can be like, can you give me that shirt, or this is shirt. I do have like a first word book, and so we're just naming everything around them. My son is on the floor, so yeah. But yeah, focusing on vocabulary. Vocabulary is so important. Even when you go to the pediatrician, they're going to ask you like, how many words do you think your child knows, or maybe even ask your child to say some things. But new vocabulary words is so important. Just introducing things around them, just to tell them things, to always constantly pour into them things that they're going to use around them, things that's very important, things that's for my day-to-day life. Most important things that your child will learn is their name and the people around them name, their family members. So say for instance, their name is, I don't know, my baby name is Uriah, right? And so the way I teach my children their name is by, first I teach them from memory, so how to spell their name. My son is 9 months, so now I just, you know, be spelling his name out for him. I also have this name puzzle that I offer on my website that you guys can purchase when this video goes up. And this is a name puzzle, and so I teach them their name first. And with the name puzzles, it's easy for it to stick. So I teach it from memory. They spell out from memory, and then I start to point to each letter as they spell the name out. And so I can do another video on that, how I go through the name system or whatever. But yeah, your name and the people around your name, your family, so that you should be teaching them or can teach them are their body parts. And I hinted at that earlier when I was talking about the book that I purchased from Dollar Tree. But yeah, their body parts, and make it fun. Use songs if you can. I know there's the Hokey Pokey song that's really fun and interactive that kids really love. And so something I did, you know, and what I'm doing now with my 9-month-old, I pretty much just went and just, you know, not press, but like touch each body part and told him what it is. And when I was doing this with Eliana and Kazaya, I would do it every single day. Just go over the body parts, not expecting them to learn anything or gain anything, but just doing it so that eventually it'll register when it needs to. And so when I skipped a day, they would start doing it for me, like grabbing my hand and just putting it to their nose and stuff like that. And so they let me know that they were actually taking in what I was doing, and so I've been doing it ever since. So yeah. Something else you can be teaching them or should be teaching them at this age that's really, really easy for them to grasp is colors and shapes. And so usually for colors, we want to introduce the primary colors first. Things like red, blue, green, yellow, white. But you want to not introduce colors that are similar in like the shade. So like yellow and orange may confuse them, or orange and red in the very beginning. So you want to do high contrast colors first, and the way to do that would be to introduce 2 different colors like red and green and focus on those colors first, and then introduce some more. Or if you just want to do like a poster with all of them on there, you can just go through it every day or whatever. And then when you see things around your home, just call out that this is blue, or can you bring me the blue book? And this is where the vocabulary comes in at, where they know what a book is. And then you're just adding a color on there so they can get a gist of, okay, this is a blue book. I do have a list of little notes that, so I won't miss anything. Teach them about the weather. And so weather including like when it's rainy, when it's cloudy, when it's stormy, snowy, and what's the other kind of weather? Windy. So my babies are on the floor, and I just wanted to get this video done, so you will hear them talking. So yeah, teaching the children about weather, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, always doing something from a book. You can do it in a learning binder, and I'm going to share my learning binder on the video somewhere throughout this video on what I created for my kids to learn. Learning binders are really popular at the toddler phase because they like to use the Velcro dots to stick things on, to start matching, and it's just an interactive way as opposed to you just telling them to sit down and do it. You know, it can be a morning routine thing where you take out the binder, take one page out, and cover that. Also remember that their attention span is very, very short, about 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes depending on the age. And the next thing that's really, really easy to teach your child in the beginning are the animals and animal sounds. So things like the duck, the pig, the dog, the cat, things like that. Teaching them the name of the animal, also the sound that it makes, is very easy to partner that together. And also teaching them about vehicles and transportation, as I mentioned. Like if you go outside, you can tell them what a car is. You see a fire truck, if you see an airplane in the sky. These are things I always covered in books, like those first beginner books, because they're able to feel the different textures on there. But also it was in my learning binder that I created as well, so they were able to like take the Velcro out and match it back again. And so things like matching and sorting is very important in the toddler phase, because they're able to discriminate, or learning to discriminate what looks alike and what is different and stuff like that. Of course, the food. So I said teach them about things that's around your home, things that they use every day, things that they eat, things that they may see in the store, like fruit and vegetables. And so that's a very good way to kind of just get them familiar with things. Even if they're a picky eater right now, if they're seeing it in books, if they're seeing you talk about it, if they're seeing it in the stores, over time they become curious, and you can serve it to them. You can also do like color baskets, or color of the day, where you do red and you eat strawberries, you eat a red apple. You eat a tomato, maybe. I don't know, but that's a cute little idea that you can use for that. The next thing would be teach them about sizes. So of course it comes over time, and it won't be probably something that a 1-year-old will get, but teaching them about big and small, or tall and short. And you can do these things outside with like rocks or tree branches or socks, that you use your own sock and then the baby sock, or you can sort it that way with things that they are able to touch and feel, because it connects a little better as opposed to you just telling them. And so you want them to be curious. You definitely want to get them outside so they can, you know, roll in the grass, or, you know, play in the dirt or whatever. You're able to see what they actually like. You're able to teach them a little more based on their interests. and stuff like that. So of course, this is the most popular that we see on the internet today, and that's teaching your children their letter sounds, their letter names, and the numbers. So I will say that for my girls, they knew their letters and their letter sounds by like 2, maybe a little before 2, but it varies because one of them was big on learning numbers and the other one was big on learning letters and letter sounds. And so I expressed this in another video, how I taught my children the letters and the letter sounds. But just to condense it for this video, I would introduce both the uppercase and lowercase together. It's called chunking, so that they're able to be exposed to both letters, as opposed to you teaching the uppercase first and then the lowercase. You just expose both of them together, and then eventually they'll be able to match it. But you want to focus on a few letters at a time. And another way you can do this is by singing an ABC song. Although the children will benefit more from just learning the letter sounds in the beginning, they will eventually need to know how to recognize the letter names as well. So the ABC song is something I use for the girls in the beginning, right? And I would just point to the different letters as I did with the name puzzle. But if you do the sounds, I would recommend flashcards. And I have this perfect set of flashcards that I created. I also have a set of flashcards that I purchased from Schematics that I absolutely love. So I can do another video on those resources if you're interested in knowing like exactly what I use or what I have used in the past. But yeah, the letters, names, and letter sounds. And I promise you, if you start with the chunking method or exposing them to both uppercase and lowercase at the same time, it will be so much easier to breeze through it. But I will say, don't put a timeline on how long it takes them to do it. The best thing to do is to be consistent. So if you did the letter sounds like 2 minutes a day, start off not with the whole 26. You can start with the letters in their name, which is what I like to do. Or you can start with a few at a time. Try to do them randomly out of order, because if you expose them to the letters like A, B, K, they're going to know that's ABC. But if you do like, I don't know, I, and then an M, and then an S, and then a T, you'll actually realize that your child may not know them out of order. They just know them from memory on the sounds because they're going, you know, A, B, C, D. So that's something to take into consideration. Also with the numbers, you want to teach them the numbers at least 1 to 10 or 0 to 9, depending on what it is. I always use puzzles to introduce letters, numbers, shapes, colors. That's my personal thing. Because I know the children needs a hands-on experience. I also use sensory bins to put the puzzle pieces in, where they can stick their hand in a bowl of rice and grab out the square or the circle and put it into the puzzle thing that they needed. With toddlers, you also want to give them the opportunity to learn how to scribble, to draw, to color, because it's very important. They're working on their fine motor skills, their hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. And children love art. Toddlers love art. And you'll be amazed at how much they can do on their own if you just give them the ability to just scribble. Like, I remember when Keziah was maybe almost 2, she would just write lines and stuff on the board. And then eventually, because I exposed her to the letters and letter sounds, she knew that she had made an L, because it was just simple lines up and down. Or just going across, she made an H. And these were all from scribbles. Not because I was teaching her how to trace or to draw her letters and stuff like that. It was all because she was able to explore and just, you know, do her own thing. Your child in songs. Children learn songs so quickly. Things are very effective, but when you teach them songs, you also have to put an image or a visual with that song. So as I mentioned, the ABC song, if you have a shape song or something that you like, if you have the body part song like the Hokey Pokey, songs are very effective. They're very catchy. Children like to laugh, they like to dance, they like to jump, and so music is a good way for them to express themselves while learning and not feeling so pressured to know certain things. They're learning passively. They don't even know they're learning, you know, but they like the song. So allow them to do pretend play. And pretend play is where your child is able to use their imagination, whether you get the toddler size things like the play kitchens or the play tool set or the play food or whatever case may be. This is important for toddlers because they can use their imagination to say, like, they're in the store, or they're, you know, mimicking how you cook in the kitchen or how you clean up. And so that's something that's very big. The most important things is to make learning a part of your everyday journey. Make learning fit inside of your actual routine, your actual day-to-day tasks and stuff like that. And that's by allowing them to sort clothing. Say if you have white socks and black socks, teaching them that this is white, this is black, or not even telling them the colors if they're not ready for it, but just allowing them to discriminate between 2 different piles. I mentioned teaching them shapes, but if I didn't, you definitely should teach them shapes because it's all around us. Letters, numbers, shapes. It's all around us, and so it's easy for us to go outside and look at our car and say that our tires or our wheels are the shape of a circle. Our door is a rectangle and stuff like that. And hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If I didn't answer specific questions or you have a specific question, just drop that in the description box below. I will be sharing some open-ended toys because someone asked me about that, like the toys that I recommend for toddlers. And I can't forget to say this. Screen time should definitely be limited, especially the first 2 years of life. If you let your child watch TV, try to minimize it to, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, no more than an hour. And an hour is definitely pushing it with a 2-year-old. But I do understand that there are some educational shows that are very beneficial for, you know, children. And so I'm not going to tell you what to do in your own home. But, you know, there are some shows that I did let my girls watch occasionally that I can share with you guys too. Biggest thing is, you know, getting a vocabulary, forming a vocabulary, and also focusing on other areas outside of academics. But as far as gross motor skills, can they run? Can they jump? Can they throw? Can they roll? These things are very important for toddlers too, and I know a lot of us moms want to have our child reading by 3 or 4. Trust me, I had the pressure on me too, but my kids are definitely not ready. I do have a 3-year-old reader, and Eliana was fluently reading at 4, almost 3, almost around 4, 3.5 or so. But I wanted her to be, you know, reading before then, but I didn't know like the best ways to do it. So now I just, you know, share what I know. But hopefully this video was helpful. I forgot to tell you guys to subscribe to my channel, so if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I post videos every week on homeschool, motherhood, and lifestyle things.